My name is Carla Grady. The instructional strategy that I have been studying is interdisciplinary writing. I began exploring this topic as a result of my observations during my time as a secondary English teacher. I have over the years watched my students struggle with trying to keep up with a multitude of assignments assigned to them by different teachers in different content areas, but oftentimes the assignments would each have a writing component to them. And even sometimes, as in the case of social studies and English, often had very similar topics. The students were often frustrated and would stay at kind of the surface level of the assignment and never get into deeper level for thinking because it was about volume and producing the product. The end game there was to get an assignment turned in for the sake of obtaining a grade. There, the students often don't see a connection to life after they leave the classroom environment and the writing tasks that they are given to complete. And there's very little communication between departments. So, as I began my exploration into this and finding out what the experts think, I wanted to first identify how we actually define interdisciplinary writing. And I noticed that that has evolved over time. So initially, it was just an instructional approach where writing was a tool for thinking and writing in all courses. So if you were writing in all of your classes, then that was called running across the curriculum or something of that nature. But as that terminology has evolved, it now includes more right to learn initiatives. So those are very closely married together. And there is much greater emphasis on combining the expertise of the teachers from the various content areas to streamline the assignments. You focus on the writing product and the writing process, but also making sure that the products that the students are producing are relevant to the real world. As mentioned before, these are real world authentic tasks in interdisciplinary writing these days. And I have a few examples here on the screen. These examples are designed to represent different genres of writing from science lab reports to things that are more creative like poetry. Journaling, of course, can be both for right to learn as well as for learning self care techniques. And then also, it shouldn't go without being mentioned that interdisciplinary writing can serve as an opportunity for a teacher to check for understanding, possibly as a common formative assessment. And use it to guide instruction and understand where misconceptions may lie in the thinking process of students. The research questions I posed were, what are the positives of interdisciplinary writing? Like, what are the benefits of it on student learning? I chose this question primarily because I wanted to know, is this something that's just a cool term, a cool idea, a fad almost in writing, or is there a true benefit to the students? The second one, then, I went into kind of with an idea of what I might find, and that is what are the main challenges to implementing interdisciplinary writing practices. And some of my thoughts were confirmed, and I also found some others along the way. And then finally, I wanted to know, what does current research suggest about best practices for overcoming these challenges or obstacles when we're implementing interdisciplinary writing? As I dove into the benefits for student learning, I found many things, everything from improved metacognition, higher levels of student achievement when students participated in interdisciplinary writing practices, um, the ability of the students to explain on a deeper level their knowledge, to be able to articulate that. There was also, though, improved student engagement with the activities, and writing's not to be forgotten. Their writing organization skills improved, and they maintained greater control over their own learning. Um, Experts also said they made better connections within the content areas themselves if they were participating in a writing related activity. Now, the challenges to implementation are really human based. Um, and I kind of have divided those into two camps or two categories. You have the objections one might find from representatives of the ELA department and objections that you might find from everyone else. So, instructors do share across those departments some commonalities. All instructors seem to be concerned about timing of assignments, how to make assignments due at the same time while not giving up or going completely off of their curriculum maps. They also share concerns about logistics. How are they going to get together to work on setting up these assignments? How will they be shared? What software or platforms will be utilized? What resources will be utilized? And then I think we all appreciate autonomy within our own instructional environments or classrooms. So that is always a concern as well. The English department specifically tends to be worried that the focus will be taken off of the writing process and placed on the content specific information. English teachers tend to also fear that they don't know enough of the other content areas to be able to guide students in the writing process on a mutual assignment. And then there's a discomfort sometimes with the actual products that are being produced. For example, if you're an English teacher, you might not be familiar with how to write a science lab report, or you might not have as much familiarity with writing a SWOT analysis. Then for people in other departments or non-English departments, there's just the general discomfort with writing. They might be okay with having students write, but having them write to a specific standard or process might be challenging. Um, and then there's kind of the more like, I don't want to say petty, but kind of the more just human things that they're worried that maybe the English department's kind of like passing off some of their work to other departments. Like, what else does the English department have to do but teach writing? And sometimes there's just a belief that maybe the English teachers are just kind of bored with English or literature and they're wanting to explore their other hobbies or interests or dive into those. So these are the objections that I found from the experts. And then as far as handling these objections really kind of fit into, you know, making things feel voluntary on the part of the instructor, and that comes in the form of making sure that all content areas are represented, that their voices are heard, that instructors have the opportunity to come to like professional developments or so forth, or to these collaborative moments with ideas in mind for what kinds of activities they would like to have their students do, what best matches their content area standards and practices, what kinds of products they would like to be produced. Another thing, as far as a lot of the logistical things, was simply to make things as electronic as possible. Use email, use shared documents, things like Google Drives and OneDrives, to utilize flipped classrooms for professional development so that instructors aren't giving up too much of their prep time or their time with students in order to learn how to do interdisciplinary writing or to produce interdisciplinary activities. So these are the primary things that I found. All of that led me to the argument that interdisciplinary writing should be incorporated at both the secondary and collegiate levels as much as possible. The reasons for that is writing has been proven to be vital to the learning process. Right to Learn initiatives should be used across content areas, and that by definition falls under the umbrella of interdisciplinary writing. Interdisciplinary writing increases student engagement as well as improves their self efficacy by providing authentic tasks, combining instructor expertise, and improving efficiency for the students. And this results in deeper levels of learning, improved writing organization, which ultimately leads to the goals of higher levels of student achievement, and then students being able to generalize their knowledge and skills into problems that they'll encounter in the real world. These are sources that I have utilized in this presentation that would provide further information on the topic. Thank you.